Yes, my friends, welcome back. It's good to be back. A lot has been happening over these past few days since I've been out, and since I've been out, it seems like we finally figured out who the new manager is set to become for next season. And right now, the imminent manager is Mauricio Pochettino. Now, I know that people in this fan base have a lot of thoughts and opinions behind this appointment. Of course, his history at Tottenham, his recent history at Paris Saint-Germain, where it wasn't necessarily a perfect time for Mauricio Pochettino. And obviously, when you're letting guys like Tuchel go and all the managers that have been coming in and going out, some people rightfully are going to think, is this an appointment I can have confidence in, knowing that Pochettino hasn't necessarily been perfect himself? But I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions, and I'm going to just give them straight. I'm content with this appointment. I think this is the most responsible appointment because I think it follows a few principles that I think are important if you want to have success at the highest level in this game. And I think the most important thing is players have to complement the ideas and system. I think it's that simple, really. And I'm going to use Ancelotti as an example. For example, when he was at Everton, he did well there considering the players he had at his disposal. But during his time at Everton, people kind of viewed Ancelotti as okay, he's coming to the latter stages now of his managerial career. When the Madrid appointment came, I remember there being tons of reservation because of Ancelotti's recent history. But because this is football and it's a team game and it's a sport, those facts meant absolutely nothing because there was one important principle that was met, and this is why Madrid are so successful. Ancelotti complemented the players that he had at Real Madrid, and he brought the right system to complement what these guys do. I mean, it's just that simple for me, Ancelotti, I remember his season at Chelsea. 4-3-3, fullbacks overlapping, booming forwards, the interchange with the front 3-2. I was seeing Drogba on the right, on the left, in the middle, Anelka, Malouda. The midfield, is any surprise that Lampard got his highest scoring season in his entire career under Ancelotti? The guy was incredible with his passing, how he kept the team ticking, the goals, the contributions. On top of that too, he had the right DM in Mikel, who was just the guy that dropped back into the defence to allow the fullbacks to get forward. And I look at this team we have currently, and I see there's a lot of players that kind of complement and match those same profiles that we used to see under Ancelotti all those years back when he used to be our manager. That's all that really matters, because if these guys feel confident playing their best football, their chemistry is improved, because other guys are also playing their best football alongside their teammates, this is how you find success. Like Madrid, imagine they didn't sign Ancelotti. Let's say they sign a Thomas Tuchel. Would they be this good right now? Would they be scoring this amount of goals or playing this type of football? I don't think so whatsoever at all. And that's the power of having a manager that complements and does right by the players he has at his disposal. Because for a long time now, I'm constantly criticizing the lack of continuity. And we see that in the form of players playing different roles and positions every single season. What are you actually building off from the previous season? If you want to match and catch up with clubs like Madrid's and Man City, their level is way higher than us because they did the right things years ago, and they're on they've transcended the sport in a way because, now they're able to just master and improve what they already know and what they've been working on. And with us, every single season there's been a new way of playing, new adaptations, new players coming in, new guys being forced to do this and to do that. And I think it's compounded in this current season we're seeing right now, where we made things 10 times worse by then signing a whole new club's worth of players, whole new staff, whole new everything. And then arrogantly, maybe not arrogantly, but kind of fooling ourselves into thinking that we can still challenge and get success. This is why I keep saying I've been humbled this season, because this sport just does not work like this. And I think this is where Mauricio Pochettino comes in and hopefully starts to right some wrongs that we've seen over the past few seasons right now. I look at this team, and in my head, I've always felt like we should be a 4-3-3 type of team. We have the fullbacks that can overlap and get forward. We have the quality in midfield. Now that Enzo's here, Kante's back. Mason Mount too. The fact that a guy like Mason Mount has not been playing as an 8 for his entire career at this football club tells me the issues. That is literally the biggest proof of the issues we have. Because if he was playing in his best position with the qualities he has, his all-round game, playing his best role as a midfield player, I guarantee, to a lot of the naysayers who are around now, you haven't really seen what this kid can really do. I've been watching this guy since he was at Cobham, since he was young, I know there's a new level this guy can reach, but he can only reach it, and other players can only find this new level now unless a manager with the right system actually complements their best qualities in their game. That's what it comes down to right now. I think I'm looking at Mudryk, I'm looking at the wingers like Madueke and others. This is how they want to play. They want to attack with speed, they want to attack down the flanks, they want to have overlapping options. They don't want to be receiving balls in the channels inside so the wing backs can overlap, because if you're doing that, you're back to goal and you have to play backwards all the time. Or we're not creating space for these guys to go 1v1. And it's just like, why are you signing all these stupidly ridiculous talented attacking players, but you're not even creating the principles for these guys to really play their best football? Like, I've been seeing this time and time again, and yeah, we've been able to get this far because we're able to like just, teamwork up, we're able to do all the fundamentals right, but you're never going to go to that next level because you haven't really been taught or raised to do that, because your football doesn't exist in the current system. And I actually think that's the reason why Tuchel actually failed in the end at this football club, because again, he took this team as far as he could with the principles that originally brought success to Tuchel, finding a winning formula, but it's not enough. It wasn't long-term enough, and he didn't know how to actually take us outside from that bubble to go to the next level. He couldn't do that. And I think with Pochettino right now, his appointment comes at the right time, because there's like this understanding of, okay, we know what we need to do now. We need to dramatically reduce the size of the squad. I mean, you're undermining every manager right now. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work at all. You have to reduce that. You have to stop building the whole squads, or 25, 24 players that you want to use, to the actual ideas you have now, because that's the only way to do things. For example, how many times have we seen like a Reece James, he's out or whatever, and then Azpilicueta comes in as his backup, but then Azpi can't do half the things that Reece James can do down the right hand side, and straight away your system is weaker because then other players aren't benefiting from the same type of passes, the same types of crosses and runs that Reece James was providing before. Like, these details matter if you want to start winning the title, yeah? Because every 3 points, every 1 point you're getting accumulates and adds up, and you have to get as many of them as possible, especially when you have rivals in Man City who, like, they're a team that regularly get 90 plus points in a season. The standards have gone that much higher right now, and that means that our attention to detail has to be this much finer to be able, of course, to catch up to that level. And I think with Pochettino, him coming in where the squad's going to be cut down to size, focus on the players that he wants to use who are core to his ideas, the players that actually suit them, because we have them with the pace, the energy, the technique. Let's start playing towards these guys' strengths now. But I get it, what I'm saying is all good and good, but obviously, what about his time at Paris Saint-Germain? And it wasn't the best time. I agree with that, but I don't think it was as bad as how it's made out on social media. This is why I just don't like to use social media that much, because it can just like change narratives and bend the truth. The guy won the title with them, got silver in his first season, but then Paris Saint-Germain, a club like us too, where they have all this ambition, they love like the glam of this player and that player, and they just arrogantly expect the manager has to, by divine right, find a winning, successful formula out of what he has at his disposal. And I'll say this, Paris Saint-Germain didn't lose games because they couldn't score goals, Mbappe didn't get 15 goals in a season, did he? These guys were still performing up front, but in terms of the whole package of the system, you need a stupidly good midfield, basically, to pick up all that slack that their front three are going to give you, because they're not going to press, they're not going to close guys down, and Paris Saint-Germain weren't putting their money in important areas like that. So Pochettino's job was kind of undermined a little bit. I think it's that simple. And I look at his time at Spurs too, and I think, Daniel Levy was an absolute idiot actually to let him go. You saw Pochettino take over a young team, give these guys some purpose, let them express themselves, found the right system for them to improve, play a winning type of football that doesn't mean sitting back, taking all the damage and beating from the opposition and then finding a few counter-attacks, hopefully to get back in the game. No, when you used to play against Spurs' Pochettino team, you had to be on point. These guys were going to press you. They were going to be intense. They were going to flood the attacking areas and put guys inside the box. They weren't a passive type of team. And then you sold Pochettino, You didn't give him the money to reinvest, to revamp the team because it was needed, because, systems only last 3 to 4 years. And then instead, you sign managers and Mourinho and Conte who have the complete opposite ideas to what Pochettino had, and then you thought you were going to get success from them. All that money that you gave to Mourinho and Conte, you're telling me that you couldn't have given that to Pochettino, who already had the respect and from everyone at that football club, to of course find the next generation of Spurs team, so hopefully climb up the ranks. Didn't want to do that. And my personal thing is, a lot of times when you see mismanagement at a club, it comes from the higher ups, because they have the control and say, yeah. So I'm always more critical of what they're doing, because the decisions they find, everything trickles down. And it's like, if a decision is going to ultimately undermine the full potential of the team you have, then it's not necessarily a good one. So I definitely think that there's been a lot of context behind Pochettino's recent managerial history. It's nowhere near as bad as how it's made out to be. Personally, I don't really care about his time at Tottenham. I mean, did we care when Mourinho and Conte went to Tottenham? No. So why do we care that Pochettino's coming to us now? I'm not too sure, because listen, when Roman was here too, we tried to sign Pochettino before guys like Sarri and Co even came here. Like, since then, over the past few years, Pochettino has regularly been part of managerial interviews because everyone respects what he does in this game. So I do think that, based on the context of him being available on the free, his footballing ideas, the fact that he wants to build and grow and improve a younger team, because remember, the strategy now is about signing top young players and making sure these guys become the number one guys in their positions in the world. So if you want to maximize this football strategy, you need a manager that actually, in his soul, actually cares to do these things, because that's how he likes to manage. You have to do these things. You have to fully buy and commit into an idea, yeah? And I think with all the pieces we have now, I mean, come on, we've got a back line that's got pace, that's very good on the ball. The midfield, one more physical DM unlocks this midfield even more, and we're not too far from that. And then on top of that, we've got strikers now. I think Lukaku comes back, he does something, and if not, if he doesn't want to come back, we can sign a top guy in the summer. And for me, with goals coming from the wide areas, from midfield as well too, plus a striker, I feel that's a type of goal-scoring balance I've been needing to see for a very long time. Yeah, it's nice that wing-backs got a few goals for us, but realistically, really, do you want to see your full-back / wing-backs being the main game winners in your team? Should that not be the striker or the wingers or the midfield players? That's the type of stuff that's kind of been bothering me for a while now. Now, I understand that some people might be like, Nini, for all the good stuff that he did at Tottenham, they didn't really win anything. But then I think to myself, who were Tottenham and what was Tottenham before Pochettino? With Mourinho or Conte and all these managers have gone to Tottenham before Pochettino? Absolutely not. It's almost as if he kind of put them on the map. He kind of built a philosophy, core principles and ideas that really told everyone in Europe, listen, this is a team where you could actually win something here because all the foundations are set in stone. And I think it goes back to how I actually see football. If you want success, it's got to be like compatibility in all areas towards this one vision. I think Man City currently have shown this is what it's always been about. This is why they're on a level that no one can catch up with. And the only way to catch up now is not spending more money. It's about improving your football, fine-tuning your football, elevating your football. That's the only way to do things. I'll give this as my final example before I leave now. But when Mourinho first came here, he took over from Ranieri. Ranieri in his first 4 years here worked with a lot of young guys, improved them, signed guys like Lampard, gave more game time to John Terry. Really built a lot of foundations that would lead to success for other managers. He signed Robin and Jack on pre-contract agreements in the summer under his time. So he has an eye for building. But Mourinho knew that to take this team to the next level, I need a team that is going to be powerful, that's going to be great in the air, that can play long balls to, that can control the midfields, that are excellent defensively too, and of course have that mentality to win, to play without fear, to outfight and outcompete their opponents. And this is why people think that this is what Chelsea Football Club has always been about, because that's been our most successful period in this club's history during that time there. But my thing is that wasn't the only way for us to be successful. The only reason why that was so successful for us was because every single player was united behind those principles. From the manager to the players who were signing, everything was built towards that. And you know why that worked? Because when Mourinho even sacked, because when Mourinho even left the football club, when Avram Grant took over afterwards too. Did Avram Grant coach these guys? No. He didn't have to coach these guys because these guys have been fine-tuned. These guys have been built up to be this type of team. And this type of team made us challenge. This type of team made opposition teams have to rework their tactics, rework their ideas. We're playing a different type of team right now. I remember Sir Alex Ferguson back in the day. United played more counter-attack against us during that time because he kind of knew that, okay, we are more superior in other areas compared to his United team. He had to adapt. That's what happens when you really fine-tune a team in all its capacities and details to really complement each other, yeah? And you see it because even when the guy that brought in the ideas left for Mourinho, we still kept competing. We still kept challenging. With Avram Grant at the helms, we were able to have nearly one of the most successful seasons ever with how close we came that season to finding silverware and all these different competitions. And that was done because the players knew what they had to do, because they've been trained this way, they've been built this way. They like playing with other similar guys like them. And every single time he tried to divert from that formula by hiring a Scolari, for example, to bring more sexy football, he was out the door in a few months because that doesn't work with the squad that you built over the years. And we brought in Vilas Boas, who was supposed to rebuild the whole team, bring in youth. I mean, not only did it not work because we didn't give him any money to sign any of the players he would have needed to have done that, but it didn't complement what already existed here. And in the end, with that great team, yeah, it culminated in us having our final hurrah and winning the Champions League against Bayern Munich in their stadium. And this was a team that was in its final legs. It was aging. It wasn't as good as what it used to be. But because these guys have known each other's game for years, because they've been playing with each other, that sense of continuity, understanding, teamwork, spirit, all these intangibles were together this whole time. They were able to do the impossible because you can't do the impossible when you have these things united together, yeah? This is what sport is. It doesn't matter how much money you want to spend on this player or that player. If they don't work together, you're wasting everyone's time. And I think at this football club, we've been doing that for too long now. And I think that with Mauricio Pochettino's appointment, this is proof of, okay, we understand the L's. We understand the mistakes right now. We know who we have to do right by this guy, that guy, that guy. You know, we can't be spending 600 million every single season right now. We need someone to make sense of this mess, this beautiful, creative, talented mess that we've made right now. And it's time we start going back to the square roots of things and doing things the right way. And for me, Pochettino, from his willingness to use youth to improving players, to playing a style of football that, you're competing against teams that can be better than you, stronger teams. All these facets he's shown throughout his career. The guy that made Tottenham, I remember Tottenham before Pochettino, they were a bigger laughing stock than how people see them today. They want a team that could get Champions League football. They couldn't do none of that. But just his impact he had alone, Spurs are still feeling the residual effects from this till this day yet. And you see that with how Harry Kane's become, Son, all these cool guys that play big parts that are still there. This is the power of getting behind a belief in an idea. And I think out of all the appointments, even though there have been some very nice names, I think on balance, on paper, Pochettino suits how the board wants to work. He suits the young players. He suits the offensive players we have in this team, the fullbacks and midfield players. His coaching is enjoyable. It's liked. He gets along with people. He's a good manager, yeah? And right now, it doesn't matter about the status, the reputation, the name. This sport has only ever been about the right manager for me that complements the team he has at his disposal. So my friends, that's my thoughts and opinions on Pochettino. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions too. How do you feel? Are you a bit annoyed? Are you a bit worried? Are you excited? What's main thoughts you guys have? Give your opinions. Let's all read what the community has to say. And my friends, on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.